The shuttle rattled as it broke through the atmosphere of Vareth Prime, and Captain Derek Stone gripped the armrest hard enough to leave marks. 3 months ago, humanity made first contact. 2 weeks ago, the Vareth Dominion issued a formal invitation. Yesterday, Command told him he'd be presenting the Galactic Peace Award to their queen. Now he was descending toward a world that made Earth look like a dusty rock. Approaching the Palace District, Lieutenant Amy Cross said from the pilot's seat. Her knuckles were white on the controls. Derek stared through the viewport at towers that spiraled into purple clouds, at bridges of light connecting impossible structures. Every species in the known galaxy had sent representatives. The Vareth had earned this honor by ending a war that nearly tore apart 3 star systems. "You ready for this, sir?" Amy asked. No. The shuttle touched down on a platform that hummed with energy. Derek straightened his dress uniform, checked the sealed case containing the award, and stepped out into air that tasted like copper and ozone. Thousands of beings filled the grand plaza. Scales, fur, chitin, forms that defied description. All here to witness the ceremony. A Vareth official approached, tall and angular, covered in ceremonial robes that shifted colors. Captain Stone. "The Queen awaits in the throne chamber. Follow." Derek had studied every brief, watched every recording. The Vareth Queen was described as their greatest warrior, a being of immense power who'd personally led fleets into battle. The translators called her "She Who Commands the Void." They entered a hall so vast it had its own weather system. Mist clung to the floor, light bent in strange ways around the columns. At the far end, on a throne of crystallized starlight, sat the Queen. Derek's boots echoed as he walked the approach. Protocol demanded he stop at the designated marker, present the award, deliver the prepared speech. He'd memorized every word. 50 meters, 40, 30. The Queen rose. The entire hall fell silent. Even the mist seemed to freeze. Derek reached the marker. He opened the case, lifted the award with both hands, and began the formal greeting in carefully practiced Vareth. "Your Majesty, on behalf of the United Earth Government and the Galactic Council, I present." The Queen stepped down from her throne. Derek's words died. She was human, not human-like, not convergent evolution, not some trick of alien biology. She was a woman, maybe 30 years old, with dark hair and eyes that held entire galaxies. She wore armor that looked grown rather than forged, but beneath it, completely, unmistakably human. The award slipped from Derek's hands. It didn't hit the floor. It hung in the air, held by nothing, spinning slowly. "Hello, Derek," the Queen said in perfect English. "I've been waiting for Earth to find us." The hall erupted. Aliens screamed in languages Derek didn't know. Amy's voice crackled through his calm, frantic and confused. The Queen smiled, and Derek saw recognition in her face, like she knew him, knew all of them. "We need to talk," she said, "about where humanity really comes from." The alien Queen requested the award, and I was stunned when an alien woman appeared. .tx. Derek's training kicked in before his brain could catch up. He activated his comm with a tap behind his ear, keeping his eyes locked on the woman who claimed to be the Vareth Queen. "Cross, status report, now." Amy's voice came through sharp with panic. "Sir, the translators are going haywire. Half the delegates are trying to leave. Palace guards are sealing the exits." "What the hell is happening?" "Stand by." Derek cut the channel and focused on the Queen. She hadn't moved, but the award still floated between them, rotating in empty air like a planet on an invisible axis. "You're human," Derek said. "It wasn't a question. I'm Vareth," she replied. "But yes, I'm also human. So are 6 billion others on this world." She gestured, and screens materialized around the throne room, displaying cities, farmland, oceans. Every face in those images was human. Surprising, isn't it? A delegate near the front, something that looked like ambulatory coral, shouted in a language that made Derek's teeth ache. The translation came a second later through his implant. "Deception. The Vareth have deceived the Council." The Queen's expression hardened. "I've deceived no one. The Council never asked what we looked like beneath our armor. They assumed, and I saw no reason to correct them." She turned back to Derek. "But Earth's arrival changes things. You're proof of what I've known for 20,000 years. 20,000? Derek's mouth went dry. "Years. Yes, the queen descended the remaining steps. Up close, she looked even more human, but something in her eyes spoke of vast age. My name is Victoria Lang. I was born on Earth in what you'd call 18,000 BC, and I'm not the only one who left. The throne room shook. Not from structure failure, but from something deeper, like reality itself was adjusting. Sir! Amy's voice cut through again. Verith warships just decloaked around the planet. Hundreds of them. Every delegation is screaming for extraction. Victoria's jaw tightened. That would be my military council. They didn't want me to reveal this. Thought it would destabilize the galactic order. She looked past Derek toward the chaos spreading through the hall. They were probably right. Derek's hand moved to his sidearm, then stopped. What good would a plasma pistol do against a woman who could stop objects midair with her mind? Why now? He demanded. Why tell us this? Because you found us faster than I expected. Earth developed FTL travel in less than a century after discovering electricity. Do you understand how unprecedented that is? Victoria moved closer, and Derek fought the urge to step back. Most species take 10,000 years minimum. The Kryll took 40,000. But humans, both branches of humanity, are different. We adapt. We innovate. We refuse to accept limits. 2 branches? Victoria nodded. 20 millennia ago, a group of us left Earth. We had access to technology you wouldn't believe. Gifts from visitors your ancestors never recorded. We settled here, on Verith Prime, and we thrived. We evolved differently. Developed abilities your branch never unlocked. But we're still human, Derek. Still cousins. An explosion rocked the palace. Alarms wailed. That would be someone trying to prevent this conversation, Victoria said calmly. She raised one hand and the floating award shot across the room into her palm. I'm going to accept this now, Captain. Then we're going to stop a war before it starts. What war? The one my own people are about to launch. They think Earth is a threat, a primitive version of ourselves that might challenge Verith dominance. They want to strike first. She met his eyes, and Derek saw genuine fear there. I've spent 200 centuries building a civilization based on peace. I won't let fear destroy it. Another explosion. Closer this time. The screens flickered and died. Cross! Derek barked into his comm. Get the shuttle ready for immediate extraction. Can't, sir. They've locked down the entire plaza with some kind of energy field. We're trapped. Victoria handed the award to a guard who appeared from nowhere, then turned to Derek. Your ship is fine. My personal shield is protecting all the delegations, but there's a faction within my government that will kill everyone here to keep Earth and Verith apart. She grabbed his arm, and electricity danced across his skin. I need your help. Will you trust me? Derek had about 3 seconds to make a decision that might determine humanity's place in the galaxy. What do you need? Victoria smiled, fierce and wild. Follow me to the command center. We're going to broadcast the truth to every world in the Dominion, and then we're going to have a very long conversation about why humans were really scattered across the stars. She ran, and Derek ran after her, into a palace that was tearing itself apart. The alien queen requested the award, and I was stunned when an alien woman appeared. TXT. The corridor twisted in ways that hurt Derek's eyes. Victoria moved like liquid lightning, her armor shifting with each step, adapting to the chaos erupting around them. Behind them, the throne room collapsed in a cascade of crystallized light. How much of this palace is alive? Derek shouted over the sound of disintegrating walls. All of it, Victoria called back. And right now it's confused because half my government is trying to kill me while the other half is trying to protect me. They rounded a corner and slammed into a security barrier, a wall of pure force that crackled with hostile energy. Victoria pressed her palm against it and closed her eyes. The barrier screamed, then shattered. Your council really wants you dead, Derek said. Not the whole council. Just the purists. They believe Earth humans are a contamination, a failed branch that should never have survived. She vaulted over debris that looked like frozen screams. They've been waiting for this moment since our long-range scouts detected your FTL signature. Derek's comm exploded with cross-chatter. Amy's voice cut through the noise. Captain, I'm reading weapons charging in orbit. Big ones. They're targeting the palace and the Earth delegation quarters. Tell everyone to shelter in place, Derek ordered. Victoria says there's a shield. Victoria? Amy sounded incredulous. You're on a first-name basis with the alien queen? She's not alien. I'll explain later. Just trust me. They burst into a massive chamber filled with holographic displays showing star systems, fleet positions, and what looked like a countdown timer rapidly approaching zero. A dozen Verith operatives in sleek armor stood between them and the central console. They all carried weapons that hummed with barely contained violence. The lead operative removed her helmet. She was human too, but her eyes glowed with inner fire. Victoria, step away from the Earth representative. This doesn't have to end in bloodshed. Roar. It already has, Commander Price, Victoria said quietly. You killed 16 palace guards getting here. Don't pretend you care about bloodshed. Price's weapon didn't waver. Those guards chose the wrong side. Just like you did 20 years ago when you opened negotiations with the lesser species. We were gods among the stars, Victoria. We could have ruled the entire galaxy. Instead, you made us diplomats. I made us survivors, Victoria shot back. Every empire built on domination falls. I've watched it happen across 200 centuries. And I've watched you grow weak. Price's finger moved to the trigger. The Purist Council has voted. Earth will be sterilized. The delegates will be eliminated. And you'll be replaced by someone who remembers what humanity is capable of. Derek's hand went to his sidearm, but Victoria grabbed his wrist. Don't. You'll be dead before you clear the holster. So what's the plan? Derek hissed. I talk. You run. Not a chance. Victoria smiled without looking at him. I like you, Captain. You remind me of someone I knew a long time ago. Then, louder, to Price. You're right about one thing. Humanity is capable of extraordinary things. But you've forgotten what made us great in the first place. Enlighten me. We never faced a challenge we didn't turn into an opportunity. Victoria moved, not fast by normal standards, but reality bent around her. And suddenly she was beside Price, hand on the woman's weapon. The gun fired, but the blast curved away, carving a trench in the ceiling. Derek ran for the console. Energy bolts streaked past his head, close enough to singe his uniform. He dove, rolled, came up next to the main display. His fingers flew across controls that responded to touch despite being made of light. Amy, I need you to patch me into the Palace broadcast system. Override code Delta 7 Black. Sir, I don't have access to alien systems. They're not alien. They're human. The protocols are based on Earth military standard. Just try it. The room erupted into violence. Victoria fought with precision that transcended combat, every movement economical and devastating. But she was 1 against 12, and even she couldn't hold them all. Derek found the broadcast controls just as a guard reached him. The woman's fist connected with his jaw and stars exploded across his vision. He tasted blood, stumbled, caught himself on the console. The guard raised her weapon. Derek grabbed her wrist, twisted, used her own momentum to slam her into the display. She crumpled. Got it! Amy's voice rang with triumph. You're live in 3, 2, 1. Derek hit the transmit button. Every screen in the chamber shifted, showing his face. According to the readout, his image was now broadcasting to every Verath world. Every ship, every outpost in the Dominion. My name is Captain Derek Stone of Earth, he said, blood dripping from his split lip. Your queen invited us here in peace. Some of you want to kill us for existing, but here's what you need to know. He wiped his mouth. Victoria Lang told me humans left Earth 20,000 years ago. She told me you evolved differently, became something more than what we are. Maybe that's true. Price broke away from Victoria and charged toward him. Victoria caught her ankle, sent her crashing into 3 other guards. Derek kept talking, but evolution goes both ways. While you were out here building empires and becoming gods, we stayed on Earth. We survived ice ages. We survived plagues. We survived ourselves. We went from stone tools to starships in 10,000 years. You want to know what humanity is capable of? Look at both branches. Look at what we built separately. Now imagine what we could build together. The countdown timer hit 0. The orbital weapons fired. Victoria screamed, a sound that shattered 3 displays and threw both hands toward the ceiling. The palace shield flared bright enough to blind, catching weapons fire that could crack continents. "We don't have to be enemies," Derek continued, his voice steady despite the palace shaking apart around him. "We can be family. Isn't that what humanity has always been best at? Finding each other in the dark?" The weapons stopped firing. The countdown reset. On the displays, Derek saw Verith warships standing down, their weapons powering offline. Price climbed to her feet, blood streaming from a cut above her eye. She looked at the screens, at the fleet, at Victoria. "You planned this," Price said quietly. "You wanted Earth to come? You wanted them to see us." Victoria nodded, breathing hard. "I've been alone for 20,000 years, Commander. Alone with my people, yes, but cut off from our birth world. When Earth's signal reached us, when I saw they'd survived, thrived even, I knew it was time." She walked to Derek's side. "We need each other. Both branches need each other." Price lowered her weapon. Around the room, the other guards did the same. "This isn't over," Price said. "No," Victoria agreed. "But it's a start. The alien queen requested the award, and I was stunned when an alien woman appeared. .txt. The command center fell silent except for the hum of damaged systems trying to repair themselves. Derek's hands shook as adrenaline drained from his blood. Victoria touched his shoulder, steadying him. "Amy, status on the delegations," Derek said into his comm. "Everyone's alive, sir." Shaken but alive. The energy field just dropped. Half the ambassadors are demanding immediate transport off-world. The other half are demanding answers. "Tell them they'll get both. Victoria and I are coming down." Price stepped forward, her weapon holstered but her posture still hostile. "The broadcast bought you time, but it didn't solve anything. Millions of Verath just learned their queen is sharing genetic code with primitives who still fight wars over resources. We stopped fighting resource wars 70 years ago," Derek said flatly. 70 years. We've had peace for 6,000. Price turned to Victoria. "You really think they're ready to join us? To know the truth about why we left Earth?" Victoria's expression darkened. "They deserve to know. Both branches deserve to know." "Don't what?" Derek demanded. "You keep hinting at some deeper truth. Stop dancing around it." Before Victoria could answer, every display in the room flared red. A new signal, incoming on emergency channels. The image that appeared made Derek's blood freeze. A massive ship hung in the void beyond Verith Prime's solar system. It dwarfed anything Derek had ever seen, a construct of curves and angles that seemed to fold space around itself. And it was broadcasting on frequencies that predated modern galactic communication by millennia. The voice that came through spoke perfect English, perfect Verith, perfect everything. It resonated in Derek's bones. "Victoria Lang, you were told to maintain separation. You were told the experiment required isolation of both populations." Victoria's face went pale. "No, not yet. We need more time. The experiment is concluded. Earth achieved FTL capability. Verith achieved societal stability. Both branches have matured sufficiently. The ship's weapons began to charge, visible even at this distance. Now comes the harvest." Derek grabbed Victoria's arm. "What experiment? What harvest? What the hell is that thing?" Victoria's voice came out hollow. "The reason humans are really scattered across the stars? The reason some of us left Earth 20,000 years ago." She looked at him, and Derek saw ancient terror in her eyes. "We didn't leave by choice, Derek. We were taken, selected, separated into 2 populations and seated on different worlds to see which evolutionary path proved superior. By who? By them, the architects. The ones who've been watching both branches of humanity since before we discovered fire." Victoria's hands clenched into fists. "I thought we had more time. I thought if I could unite Earth and Verith, prove we were stronger together, they'd see we passed their test." Price cursed in a language Derek didn't recognize. You always knew they'd come back." "I hoped I was wrong." The architect's ship moved closer, crossing impossible distances in seconds. New images flooded the displays. Other worlds, other human colonies. Dozens of them, scattered across the galaxy, each population isolated, each developing along different lines. Some primitive, some advanced, all human. "There are more of us?" Derek whispered. 47 colonies, Victoria said. "I've known about them for centuries but couldn't reach them without alerting the architects. They've been running the largest experiment in galactic history, testing humanity under every possible condition." Her voice cracked. "And now they're here to collect the results." The ship entered orbit. Its shadow fell across the palace, across the entire city. Derek felt pressure building in his skull, like the air itself was holding its breath. "All human populations prepare for uplift protocols," the architect voice announced. "Superior specimens will be preserved. Inferior variants will be recycled. This has been the agreement since your species first reached for the stars." "Like hell," Derek snarled. He opened channels to every ship in the system. "All vessels, Earth and Vareth, this is Captain Stone. We've got hostiles in orbit claiming ownership of humanity. I don't care what deals were made 20,000 years ago. Nobody owns us. Charge weapons." "Captain, that ship could sterilize this entire system," Amy warned. "Then we die free." Victoria grabbed his face, forced him to look at her. "There's another option, a dangerous one, but it requires both our branches working together, completely synchronized." "What option?" "The architects are powerful, but they're arrogant. They think of us as lab specimens, interesting animals they've been breeding." Her eyes blazed. "They've never seen what happens when you corner a human. Either version of us." She pulled up schematics of the architect's ship, data she'd apparently been gathering for centuries. Weak points glowed in the structure. Vulnerabilities that would require simultaneous strikes from multiple vectors. "We hit them here, here, and here," Victoria said. "But it needs precision. Bareth ships have the weapons. Earth ships have the tactical adaptability. Together, we might survive the first exchange." "And the second exchange?" Price asked. "Won't happen if we're fast enough." Derek's mind raced. 24 Earth vessels in the system, all lightly armed exploration and diplomatic ships, 300 Vareth warships, built for galactic peacekeeping, against a ship designed by beings who'd been manipulating humanity since the Stone Age. "Amy, get me a direct link to Admiral Chen on the Valiant. Emergency protocol." "Sir, we're civilians. We don't have the authority. We're about to become extinct if we don't move. Do it." The Admiral's face appeared on screen seconds later, her expression grim. "Captain Stone, I'm seeing what you're seeing. Tell me you've got a plan." "Yes, ma'am, and you're going to hate it." Derek laid out Victoria's strategy. The Admiral's expression shifted from skepticism to calculation to grim determination. "It's insane," she said finally. "It might work. Coordinate with the Varath fleet. I'll get our ships in position." She paused. "Captain, if we survive this, we're going to have a very long conversation about first contact protocols. If we survive this, ma'am, I'll buy the first round." The architect ship's weapons reached full charge. Warning klaxons screamed across every vessel in the system. Victoria stood. "Time to show them what happens when you try to harvest humanity." Derek stood beside her. Both branches, Victoria agreed. "The alien queen requested the award, and I was stunned when an alien woman appeared. .tx, the palace transformed. Walls retracted, revealing weapon systems that had been hidden for millennia." Victoria moved through the command center like a conductor before an orchestra, her hands dancing across holographic controls while barking orders in 3 languages simultaneously. Derek coordinated with Admiral Chen, overlaying Earth tactical doctrine with Varath weapons capabilities. The synthesis came together faster than should have been possible, as if both branches of humanity shared some deeper instinct for coordination. "Vareth Battle Group 7, position at Mark 37, Derek called out. "Earth squadrons, 2 and 5, flank formation. Wait for my signal." Price worked beside him, her earlier hostility replaced by focused intensity. "The architect's shield technology regenerates faster than anything in our arsenal. We'll have maybe 4 seconds after shields drop before they adapt. Then we make those 4 seconds count." The architect's ship descended lower, close enough now that Derek could see details in its hull. Symbols carved into metal that seemed to shift when he looked directly at them. Conduits that pulsed with light that hurt his eyes. Victoria pulled him aside. "There's something else you need to know about why the architects separated us. Can it wait until after we're not about to die? No, because it's the key to winning." She brought up genetic data, comparison charts between Earth humans and Verath humans. We didn't just evolve differently by accident. The architects engineered the split. Earth branch developed adaptability, innovation, rapid problem solving under pressure. Verath branch developed mental abilities, extended lifespan, physical enhancement. So we're two halves of a whole. Exactly. And when both halves work together, she pulled up new data, projections that made Derek's eyes widen. Our combined potential exceeds anything the architects predicted. That's why they're here now, before we fully integrate. They're afraid of what we might become. An alert screamed across all channels. The architect ship fired a warning shot that vaporized one of Verath Prime's moons. The shockwave rattled the palace even through shields. "Final warning," the architect voice boomed. "Prepare for harvest or face sterilization." Derek opened a channel to every human ship and settlement in the system. "This is Captain Derek Stone. 20,000 years ago, someone decided they could experiment on our species. They split us apart, scattered us across the galaxy, treated us like lab animals. Today, they've come to collect." He looked at Victoria, at Price, at the Verth operators working alongside him. "I say we show them exactly what lab animals do when they get tired of the cage." The channel erupted with affirmations. Earth voices, Verith voices, all human, all ships. Execute attack pattern. Stone Victoria, 1 on my mark. Derek's finger hovered over the trigger. 3, 2, 1. Mark. 300 Verath warships opened fire in perfect synchronization. Energy beams that could crack planets converged on 3 specific points in the architect's ship's shield grid. The shields flared, held, began to buckle. Earth ships dove in, smaller and faster, threading through the Verath barrage. They fired kinetic rounds, old-fashioned mass drivers that the architect's energy shields weren't optimized to deflect. The shields collapsed for exactly 3.7 seconds. Every weapon in the human fleet fired at once. Verath plasma cannons, Earth rail guns, missiles both conventional and exotic. The combined barrage hit the architect's ship's exposed hull like a hammer striking glass. The ship reeled. Atmosphere vented from 100 breaches. Internal explosions rippled across its surface. Then it stabilized, began to regenerate, returned fire. A Verath cruiser vanished in a flash of light so bright it left afterimages. 2 Earth frigates tumbled away, hulls shredded. The palace shields screamed under directed energy that could atomize continents. "It's not enough," Price shouted. "They're adapting too fast." Victoria closed her eyes. "Then we try something they won't expect." She reached out and Derek felt it. A presence touching his mind, gentle but insistent, not invasive. Inviting, "What are you doing?" Showing you what Verath humans learned to do. What Earth humans never developed because you followed a different path. Her voice echoed inside his head. "But the potential is there, in every human. We just need to wake it up." Derek felt his consciousness expanding. He sensed Amy in the shuttle, her determination burning bright. Admiral Chen on the Valiant, tactical genius firing on all cylinders. 10,000 human minds across both branches, all suddenly aware of each other, all connecting. The architects had given Verath humans mental abilities, but they'd never imagined those abilities linking with Earth. Human innovation and adaptability. The gestalt snapped into place, 10,000 minds thinking as one, yet remaining individual. The synthesis of 2 evolutionary paths meeting for the first time in 20 millennia. And through that connection, Derek saw the architect's ship differently. Not as an impenetrable fortress, but as a puzzle. One that 10,000 human minds working in perfect coordination could solve. "There," Victoria's voice rang through the network. "The central processing core. It's organic. Living technology. We can't destroy it from outside." "Then we go inside," Derek said, and 10,000 voices agreed simultaneously. Admiral Chen coordinated fleet movements with precision no single mind could achieve. Verath commanders contributed weapons knowledge that Earth tacticians immediately adapted. Someone on a colony ship 7 light-years away saw a weakness in the architect ship's point defense grid. The fleet moved as one organism. Ship started in, laying down suppressing fire. A boarding team assembled from both branches. Volunteers who understood they might not return. Derek found himself suiting up beside Victoria, Price, and a dozen others. Amy's voice cut through the mental link. "Sir, you're not seriously going over there. Someone has to. And I speak for Earth." "You speak for all of us now," Victoria said. Her mental presence warm beside him. "Both branches. That's what they fear." The boarding shuttle launched from the palace, accelerated to impossible speeds by Verath technology, piloted with Earth precision. The architect ship's defenses tracked them but couldn't quite predict their movements when 10,000 minds were calculating trajectory adjustments. They breached the hull through a wound their combined fleet had torn in the ship's side. The interior was vast, organic, pulsing, like being inside something alive and ancient and utterly alien. "Stay close," Victoria warned. "The ship itself is sentient. It knows we're here." The walls began to move. The alien queen requested the award, and I was stunned when an alien woman appeared. TX. The corridor contracted around them like a throat trying to swallow. Derek fired his plasma rifle at the encroaching walls, but the metal-organic hybrid simply absorbed the blast and kept moving. "Don't fight it," Victoria said. She pressed her palm against the wall, and Derek felt her consciousness push outward through their shared link. "We're inside a living ship, so we speak its language." She closed her eyes, and the mental network expanded to include her team. 12 humans, 6 from Earth and 6 from Verath, their minds synchronizing. The walls stopped moving, confused by the unified presence they encountered. "It's never felt multiple minds acting as one before," Price said, wonder in her voice. "The architects keep their consciousness separate, hierarchical. This terrifies it." They pushed deeper into the ship. Corridors branched in impossible directions. Gravity shifted without warning, and the air tasted like copper and starlight. Through the mental link, Derek felt Amy monitoring their progress from orbit, felt Admiral Chen repositioning the fleet to cover their insertion point, felt thousands of humans across both branches holding their breath. The ship fought back. Bulkheads slammed shut, trying to separate them. Automated defenses emerged from the walls, weapons that fired energy Derek had no name for. But 12 minds working in perfect coordination could predict where the attacks would come from, could move as a single unit while maintaining individual initiative. They reached a chamber that hurt to look at, geometric shapes that existed in more dimensions than Derek's eyes could process. At the center, suspended in a field of twisted light, floated something organic. A brain the size of a small house, pulsing with bioluminescence, trailing neural filaments that connected to every system in the ship. "The core," Victoria whispered. "This is what's been controlling everything." A voice filled the chamber, coming from everywhere and nowhere. "You should not be here. You should not be able to be here." "Surprise," Derek said. "Turns out your experiment worked better than you planned." "Impossible. Earth branch lacks neural integration. Verath branch lacks adaptive plasticity. Separate, you are controllable. Together, you become free." Victoria finished. "That's the word you're looking for. We become free." The brain pulsed angry red. "You were created to serve. Enhanced, guided, perfected across 20,000 years of careful cultivation. You exist because we permit it." "Wrong." Derek stepped forward, rifle aimed at the core. "We exist because we're survivors. Both branches. You scattered us across the galaxy thinking you could control the variables, but you forgot the one thing that makes humans human." "And what is that?" "We're really bad at doing what we're told." He fired. The plasma bolt struck the neural core dead center. The ship screamed. Not through speakers, but directly into their minds. A psychic howl that would have shattered their consciousness if they'd been alone. But linked together, 12 minds supported each other, distributed the psychic assault, turned it into white noise they could filter out. The core began to regenerate, tissue knitting back together at impossible speed. "Physical attacks won't work," Price said. "It's designed to repair itself." "Then we don't attack it physically." Victoria turned to Derek. Remember what I said about both branches working together? Earth humans innovate. Verith humans manipulate mental energy. What happens when we combine both approaches? Derek understood. We hack it. Not with code, with consciousness. The team linked deeper, their 12 minds becoming a unified force. Victoria led the way, her Verith training allowing her to perceive the neural pathways that made up the architect ship's intelligence. Derek and the Earth contingent analyzed those pathways, looking for exploits, vulnerabilities, ways to turn the system against itself. The core fought them. It had millennia of experience, knowledge that spanned civilizations, but it had never encountered an attack like this before. Technology and biology and pure human stubbornness working in concert. Derek felt himself inside the ship's memories. He saw Earth as it was 20,000 years ago. Saw the architects descending, selecting the strongest humans, the smartest, the most adaptable. Saw them split into two groups, one taken to Verith Prime and enhanced with genetic modifications, one left on Earth, their memories wiped, allowed to develop naturally. He saw other experiments. 47 human colonies, each modified differently. Some failed. Their populations dying out. Some succeeded beyond expectations. All monitored, all controlled, all part of a grand design to create the perfect servant species. Why? Derek demanded, pushing the question directly into the core's consciousness. Why do this to us? The answer came reluctantly. Pulled from memories the core tried to hide. The architects are dying. Our civilization peaked 50,000 years ago. We have forgotten how to adapt, how to innovate, how to survive challenges we did not engineer ourselves. We needed a species with the potential to replace us, to carry our legacy forward. So you created us to be your children, Victoria said. Your inheritors, yes. And now the experiment concludes. The successful branches will be integrated into our society. The failures will be discontinued. Discontinued. Derek's rage flowed through the link, amplified by 12 minds. You mean murdered, recycled. Their genetic material will contribute to future iterations. Around them, the chamber began to collapse. The core was willing to destroy itself, to destroy the entire ship rather than lose control of its experiment. It's going to detonate, Price warned. We need to evacuate now. But Derek had seen something in the core's memories. A weakness. A failsafe the architects had built into every experiment. A